Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. I'm your host of this series, Let Me Tell You More, and today I'm here to interview the artist Chermaine Johnson.
Hi guys, it's good to meet you. I'm happy to be here, and I'm just here to tell you a bit about what's popping on the what's popping.
Okay, so the first question is, how would you describe yourself as an actor?
Very determined, very tunnel vision kinda. I'm very business minded, and overall just like a pretty fun actor. I think I'm pretty chill with it, so it's right on the money. That's a little bit of all of what I am.
Okay, and for those who don't know you, will you tell us a little bit more about you?
Sure. I was born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina, so Carolina represent. Went to college, went to a performing arts middle high school, and then also played volleyball. Got recruited to go play ball in college. So I did acting in college, graduated some years ago, was recruited to go pro in volleyball, and I didn't go because of a knee injury. So I focused all my time on my acting. And then after college, I took some time and then made the big leap to New York City, where for where the business and professional part of it. I didn't deem myself a professional actor until I was out on my own, though, because there's so much that they don't teach you in school to prep you for the world. And then when you're out in it, it's like, okay, this is what you're supposed to be doing out here. So that's pretty. And then I got representation, and I've done some few things, and then now that's just been we're pretty up to current. Pandemic hit, and now we're back where we are.
So, what made you want to be an actor?
I've always done performing in my life. As a little young one, my mom and my family will say that I was the entertainer. Whether it be good or bad entertainment, they were going to get entertained. But I believe it was after I saw Fame and Sister Act where I was like, I want to do that. I want to be able to make people feel feelings. And I believe that's when it started. So before age 10 is when I started really looking into it.
How have you been doing during the pandemic, by the way?
I've been doing pretty well, actually. Everyone I know is safe. Hallelujah. Praise God. And at the start of the pandemic, I had the choice to everyone is just trying to survive at this point, especially at the beginning when we didn't even know everything. I had lost my job. I wasn't getting unemployment benefits at the time. And it really just came down to, jobs closing and no one really knowing what to do. So I chose to focus on during the pandemic on what I could control and what I could do for myself. And I believe that kept me sane during that first year of the pandemic. And I believe it's keeping me sane now as we continue to be in a pandemic. So yeah, just focusing on the things you can control. And through that, I was able to do a lot of stuff that I wasn't able to do prior to the pandemic. I was able to connect a lot more with casting directors and make friends with people in the industry. I even landed my new reps and everything all through me putting myself out there, because you have nothing to lose at this point. One of the things I want people to know when they see me is they see a hard worker and somebody that's just go for broke, throw it all out there, because if this is something that you want to do, no one should tell you how to do it. You should just know what you need to do.
Yeah. So tell me about how important would you say having representation is for actors?
I would say at some point you're going to need it. And me personally, I've been burned. When I first moved out to New York City, I got my first agent, and I was not prepared because I didn't know the business side of this industry. I was very much new, but every actor deemed at the time, they were just like, oh, you got to have reps for this, you got to have reps for that. And then you end up on somebody's roster, and it ends up being you either get shelved or you get I'm not getting seen as much as I should be seen, or why do I feel like I'm doing more for myself, as you should, because an agent only gets 10%. You're supposed to do the rest of it. So it's not just that, but it's also you have to know your types, you have to know your brands, you have to know where you're targeting. And as a new actor in the city, I did not know that at the time. So it was pretty eye-opening a year later when it came down to it. I was like, I feel like I'm not doing my best here, but then they also found out that they wanted to focus on their children's division, so it was fine. They're good. We we separated and it was perfectly fine for me. But then I realized I started taking lessons in business of acting. I started learning how this industry works. Is so much that actors cannot control. So like there are things that you could have like already on your radar. So at that time I was like 2018, I was like, I'm not looking for reps. I was like, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to do everything in my power that to make sure all my birds or my ducks were in a row. And I'm going to, when the time comes, the time comes. And then the pandemic hit and I was like, well, I've been working for myself anyway. Like, let's just keep that going. So it was really like fate when my manager first reached out to me. And then I got an agent like through classes. But at some point, like when you're doing all of the right steps, like you're taking the classes, you're getting in front of the casting directors, you know your wheelhouse of things, and you've booked a few things. Like I booked my first feature, and I've done some short things and all that stuff. When you build your resume up on your own, that's when the reps will come. They want to see you hardworking. When you want the bigger opportunity jobs, you're going to need reps, because reps are it's not just your voice saying, I know I can do this. It's having a team of people who believe in you as well and have those connections with, or those relationships with people who will bring you into the room.
Right.
It goes back into networking. So I will say they are important, but only when you know who you are, know how you want to be represented in this entertainment industry, and when you have stuff to back it up, and just like not folding on like who you, like I said, like who you truly are, because it's so easy to lose yourself in this industry that when you get reps, you want to make sure that you're not shrinking yourself for their benefit, but that you're being yourself. Like my reps knew who I was prior, because they had seen me on socials. But definitely get reps only when all of your stuff is in a row, and like when you feel like it. And sometimes you don't even need to reach out; they'll reach out to you. Like it's I can go on about that, but yeah, that's mostly it.
So was it easier when everything shifted to the internet during the pandemic in terms of auditions and things?
A lot of people miss in-person auditions, and because of the natural directional feedback you'll get from the casting director, or just like meeting somebody, like they'll say like through a screen, it's a lot different. But a lot of people miss the in-person directions and the in-person connections. And I do too, but I feel like with the self-tape world, it gives you a lot more range, because you can do any type of tape now, or you're safe at home. You can like film as many times as you want. You're not messing around trying to hop on the A train into Times Square during like, crazy hours. You're not trying to like, you don't have to worry about what you're wearing, or like if it's gonna like, you're gonna drop coffee on your shirt. Like it's so many things that you don't have to worry about with the self-tape now. And I do think that's taken a lot of the stress off of in-person auditions, but I do know that people still miss them, and want to get back to that. But I think it's made it a little bit more calming with the internet now, because people were able to like just see you. They don't see the struggle or whatever, but like the only thing people miss is like the in-person direction.
Okay, so how old were you when you got your first acting role?
Oh my gosh. Like in a play or just in general?
We'll go with in a play. The very first acting role you ever got.
I did musical theater in middle and high school. I got cast in their roles. So that was preteen and teenager. So like 13 or 14. And then I got my first role in a play in college at 18. 17, and then like my senior year I got another role 19, 20. So definitely teenage years and preteen years. My first play roles. My first short film role though was 22, 23. And that was when because at that time you have to decide, at least for me, people want to do it all, but sometimes you have to focus on one, and then the rest will come. I was choosing between theater and TV at the time, and I had done plays and stuff, and I was like, I really want to do like TV film. So the way to get into that is to like short films and like film festivals and all that stuff. So I got in my first like role after I got into the city for a short film at like early 20s.
What was the first paid acting gig you got, and how much were you paid for it?
That
If
was,
you can talk about that.
yeah, for sure. My first short film. Since short films are usually produced by people with like a specific budget, it's like you don't really think about the money at the time because you're getting the exposure, you're getting the film festivals, and you get paid for it. So a lot of actors don't really look at that. But I got, I believe it was like in total, it was around 350 or 400 because it was only a couple days. So like one it's like 130 a day, but then we had to add in like, meals and travel expenses and reimbursement. So I believe the first full one, it was like 400.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
wow. That's
And again,
not bad for a short film.
yeah, it also goes into location, like if I was in Georgia, it would probably be a different price than it was in New York. But since the cost of living in New York is higher, they try to like, if you're going to be taking time off from your survival job, they want to make sure that you're able to
Survive.
Yes, for sure.
Do you have a certain genre of movies that you prefer over other ones? And if so, which ones is it?
I love all genres of movies, but lately I've been watching a lot of dark stuff. Uh, no, and like I don't want to make it sound like that. It's not like it's dark, like I'm depressed, but like sometimes it's so good. Like I love the stuff with stories. I love it with like
Suspense.
yes, thank you. You get it.
You
And
have to think through those movies a lot.
absolutely. And that's what I love. I love the movies that make you think, the ones that like keep you like brought in. Like I don't have anything wrong with your typical rom-com or like anything like that too, but I feel like with those suspenseful movies, like it's like you can't look away for a second because you'll miss something. And with rom-coms, I don't want to say they're all predictable, but most of the time you can like be like, this is really cute.
Yeah,
I
you,
like
you can kind of tell what's gonna happen in them. Because
yeah.
if they totally went away from it, you'd be like, what?
Yeah, I'd be like, this is rom-com. Hmm.
Have you ever met any famous people? Any famous actors or anything? And if so, can you tell me about them?
For sure. I met a few people when I first moved to the city, but I think one of the most memorable appearances I remember is Gabrielle Union. She said I looked like her at the time. We took a selfie, and this was before she had her little shady baby. She said, "You'd play me in a doc really well, like a biopic." I was like, "You better remember that years from now." She probably didn't remember, but she said it. We got like our selfie or whatever, and I could really see it. I told her, I was like, she said that our energies felt really like good together, but I don't know if she said that to everybody, but like I just felt it at the moment. She was very nice and like she was very welcoming. I had gotten her book, like you're gonna need more wine, and she had signed it, and we took a selfie, and she was just very like down to earth. So
And where
yeah,
did you meet her?
in New York.
In
In New
New
York, it was at the not the Palace Theater. It was like, oh, funny story. I met her when I was supposed to be on my lunch break at work. I was like, I'm just gonna need a little bit more time. I was like, forget this job. I want to go see like the people that inspire me. And I was able to meet her and then like ran right back to work. But it's just something about like getting that insight from people who do what you want to do, and then like they see something in you, and they just like you're gonna have to keep pushing,
Right.
like working hard. And to hear that from her was just like, okay.
It's like maybe I can take a little bit more of this torture because it will
Absolutely.
end up great.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have any projects that you're currently working on, and are you able to talk about them at all? Or is
The
it a secret?
oh, no, I don't have any secrets. The projects that like I said, I had just booked a feature that was little last year, and they haven't started filming yet because they're still trying to see what like the
The
pandemic is like.
pandemic, yeah.
Yeah, but I was very excited about that. I've done a few other like small things
Mhm.
that have been just towards me working towards my like acting career and like stuff to like put on, the reel and stuff like that. And most of the time it's just been like auditioning. Like, the auditions have been pouring in for me, which makes me pretty happy because that means, the world is slowly but surely coming back,
Right.
it's just been like really keeping my mental sane, and then I've been taking some like other like mind like not mindset classes but just classes on how I can approach the game differently, and just I've been also breathing a lot. Like it's just I really just be over here eating and like just staying in my own lane and just really just focusing on what I can do, because it's not a matter of if the industry is going to come back. It's going to come back. It's just, are you where you need to be when
Right.
it comes back? And that's what I've been working on throughout like lately. Yeah.
Mm. And now, have you ever had to deal with any of the pressures of looking a certain way for parts?
Oh, absolutely. But I feel like feel like a lot of us deal with a lot of the struggles that Hollywood tries to like put on what the correct image is for a certain type of people. I can only talk about my people. But I feel like in all, like I get so, it boggles my mind because I feel like Black people have such, and all types of diverse people have so many other shades to them. It's so
Right.
many other stories and backgrounds. And I do feel like there's been a little bit of progress, but I want to see it not be so much as just throwing in somebody last minute. So
Right.
when it would come to like auditions, I actually just had a friend who is they say, and even myself, they say that you don't look Black enough, you know? Yeah, it's just,
Wow.
yeah, it's stuff like that. The way Hollywood or sometimes this industry likes to say is you don't portray Blackness the way we see Blackness.
Right.
And that's what I still believe needs to be like talked about and like annihilated, because so many, that's why I say there's so many backgrounds, there's so many stories, like, and Black trauma is a real thing. They love showing stories
Right.
in movies, and those get the high awards. So at some point you're just like, well, if those are getting the award, should I do it? No, you shouldn't. But because
No,
there are
you
people,
shouldn't.
you shouldn't, because there are people who are actually out here trying to make a difference. Like I saw Marseille Martin a while back. She's doing like a Disney show now, and it's not focusing on like Black pain. She said that she doesn't like seeing Black pain, and I agree with her. Because we can
Yeah.
do so many things. Like, what about the stories where Black people come from a loving household, and like they just
Yes, they don't put that one in the movie.
like, what about the ones who are the first generation grads? Or what about the
Yeah.
ones who are struggling in college but making it work? Or the ones who are battling addiction yet still somehow providing and making a way for themselves? Like, it's so much strength in the people that I feel like they're not open to seeing yet. And I'm not sure why that is, but I feel like it definitely does trickle down, like even to like the roles of people for co-stars, because
Right.
those are the ones we want to get in the door. So we have like, your hair is not big enough, or you're not, your way of speaking is not the way we want it to speak. We can do a character, but it's a difference between doing a character versus that's how they think we are, you know?
Right.
And
Yes.
I feel like finding the balance between that has been, I can't speak for other races, even though I see it. I can only speak for my own, but I feel like that's been like a balance of trying to navigate that.
Right. Okay, so tell me what work really goes into being an actor? Like, what study do you have to do? How much working out do you have to do? Like, because some people think they can just get in it, be like, oh, well, I'll do something, and this be easy. But
Mm,
there's a reason why the term starving artist exists.
absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Being an actor is one of the most challenging jobs in the world, I believe, because you invest so much money and you get the most rejection.
A million no's, one
A
yes.
million no's for that one yes. And even when you get that one yes, it can change because so many things you can't control.
Yes.
I do want to say classes are a good way to start, like, but they're not cheap. And I just really wish people knew how hard it really was, because not only, like, some people like to get the acting world and the corporate world mixed up a bit. Like, you do a little work here in, I worked in corporate, so I know you do a little work here in corporate, you move up a position, right?
Hmm.
You work long enough, all of a sudden you're being promoted to like assistant manager, and then boom, 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 like a year or two later, you're the manager. That's not how it works in acting. You take classes with certain people, and then those classes will be like 116 or like 190 or 260. I think the most I've seen for a class that I did not pay for is $600.
Wow.
It was for a 6 week class, but it's like, if these are the people that cast you and stuff, you kind of have to be like, well, it is an investment, but like, you pay for the classes without any guarantee. Obviously,
Hmm.
you have to. Headshots are not cheap. There are some, you want to get good headshots because you don't want to just depend on somebody with a camera, because
Right.
you're losing money, and you'll have to like make up for that with more
Yes.
money. So we got headshots, we got a resume. You need to, in your casting profiles, you have to be on and stay on the casting profiles, like Actors Access. If you're in LA casting networks, and if you when you have reps, like they give you like a different type of like code, but you still gotta pay for it, but it's fine. Not them, but you personally, like if you want the unlimited stuff, like you want to be able to put your stuff up there, you're gonna have to pay extra, but it's fine. You have to pay for that monthly. And those are 3 different platforms that you got to stay afloat to pay for. A survival job, when are you gonna sleep? Like, what times are you available? Can you swap out with somebody to go to do an audition and come in later? It's so much that goes into scheduling and balance, and a lot of investing money that you haven't gotten back yet, and it can take forever before you get that money back. Not forever, but long enough where you just but it's so in hardship. Like
Mhm.
sometimes I remember when I was first starting out in New York trying to like make a way, and it came down to I needed a survival job, and I was like, I'll just work in corporate again. But it came down when I was looking for work, because it's always hard to find work when you're an actor because people want you there all the time. And you're like, well, I can only give you so much because I'm an actor first.
Right.
And it came down to like, sometimes it would come down to like, do I want to, and then transportation, do I want to pay to go to this audition, or do I want to pay to eat tonight? You know?
Wow.
That's how it would come sometimes. It'd be them hard times, but when you get in, I think that's why New York is like the city, the city of opportunity, because she really does chew you up and spit you out. But like once you learn to navigate it, you're like, it's so crazy, because it's like you're not crazy because everybody does it.
Right.
It's not like you're the only one struggling, and it's not like you're the only one who is not eating tonight. And you find some type of solace and comfort in that, because it's like, you have a dream. You shouldn't want to struggle or sacrifice for the dream, but you should have. But the way the life is set up, it's almost like you're paying your dues.
Right.
So that when it kind of like builds you up, so that when you finally do get that yes, all the tiring nights of wandering around, like doing classes and meeting people, and like the skipping meals, or like,
That's
just
why people burst out crying when they get one yes.
absolutely, because it's like we're getting somewhere. And
Right.
I always say there's a role out here for everybody. Like, you do not compare yourself to other people, because you never know what somebody went through to get to this point of them getting the role. Their
Right.
journey is not the same as yours. The role is not the same.
Yeah.
And that's just like how I try to like see it. And I think that's really helped me. That and having like strong roots to who I am, but mostly I feel like that's like really helped.
Do you have any favorite projects that you've done that were just your favorite experience, period?
Mm, I want to say they're all up there. um, I think, okay, so I got, yeah, the short films that I've been able to like be in that have gone on to film festivals. I audition a lot for network TV, so it's a lot of like fast paced, like on like once you're in like, you know, moving. With smaller projects, I feel that it's more intimate. You know, like you know everybody. It's very much you're all coming together to make a project, you know, like not like a passion, but something that you're all having a part in. And it's the same thing with network TV, but you know, that's network, you know, like that's going to be there. But it's just something about having your hand in something that's yours, you know, that you contributed to.
Right.
And I think the projects I've been a part of have definitely, those are the ones that I feel like are most meaningful because you're working with people not only who think like you, but are very creative and all have the same goal in mind at the time. And I think it makes it the pull a little bit stronger, you know?
Do you have any least favorite projects that you've been a part of?
Before the pandemic hit, I had booked an off Broadway role. And I think the way that I had auditioned, I had done the callback, and I had been offered the role. And I thought everything was going to be fine until this is why you have to be careful. I didn't have reps at the time, remember? Some people tried it when they realize you don't have reps. You always got to read your contract. You always got to like stand firm in who you are. Because when I got there for rehearsals, they had turned around and said, because of certain things, we're going to be giving you less money. And but you're going to be performing more. So we're going to
Wow.
be in this place, and you're going to also be at the off the theater. But the amount of hours and performances, the amount of hours you're about to do are not going to equal to the pay you get. Are you okay with that? And
I know what you instantly want to say in your mind.
I remember standing there because I was so, I think I had called my mom and I was so happy when I first got it. And I was just like, Mom, stuff is happening. Like, I'm finally, like, we're moving along. And then it just came down to, I think, a moral thing. Like, you know, I don't want to have to, like, and I don't want to have to work like 8 hours a day, like dancing, singing with, and only get paid a third of what you said I would be getting in the first place. And then
Right.
on top of that, you want me for this long amount of time and unlimited hours, no food, and
No
like
food.
travel reimbursements
Right.
until the end. And that's a maybe.
Right.
So it just came down to, yeah, I'm going to be getting in front of like people that you want to be in front of. You want the exposure, but it all comes at a price, and you have to tax yourself up higher in these types of situations. So when
Right.
I said no, I meant it. Even, and I think that was my first experience because the woman was so nice. They I'm not saying they're all like fake, but like, they literally put on, they can be the nicest people, but want you to do the most inhumane things just to, it's a weird balance, but you just have to know when to say no. And I'm really glad I did because I have some friends that also booked that role, and they were not happy months later because they
Right.
were, you know, were needed from 6 a.m. to 5 in the afternoon, and we're only getting paid like 100.
Wow. So can you explain to me what a day in the life of a busy actress is like from morning till night? What are you doing?
Well, a lot of, yes, actually, that was my whole weekend, really. I went to a wedding, but I had like 3 auditions that I needed to like do. Auditioning and is so last minute and quick turnaround.
Mhm.
So you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I'm gonna relax today. But like that relaxing can go into like a rest day, or it can go into like you formulating your business plan. It can go into you making sure that you sent the emails out to the right people today. And that takes some time.
I
And then,
know about the email sending.
absolutely, it takes some time. And then that takes hours, and you turn around and then like you're given like auditions that are like due 2 days from now or like at midnight, and you'll have to like pause what you're doing. I don't like to immediately go into the tape. I like to print out my sides and like scan it and like read through so I can get in the mindset. I like to go. But you see how that takes time too?
Be like, I'm not Denzel. I can't go straight there yet.
I can't go straight there. You gotta, especially like when you're just chilling on the couch, be like, be like, ding, and you're like, all right, business time. But it's like you can't exactly. I don't want to say you don't get a moment to rest because you do, because auditions are so far and few between. But it's like nonstop.
Right.
Always like it's something you can be working on, whether it's your networking. Like I'm happy that I networked with you. Like this has been a bomb interview. Or it can be in class, you're learning sides for class, because a lot of people don't. I just got in the mindset of this. Class is not just class. These are like appointments. These are people you want to bring you in, so you have to do a good job.
Right.
And you have to know your work and all that stuff. And that takes time. And then like you break for lunch if you decide to. And then it goes right back into, some people like to do cardio to like get their minds right. I'm actually going for a walk later.
And like you have to, it's like your time to regroup.
That's where we do it. I used to think people just wanted to like run for their health. And I'd be like, why are you running? But now I see it's actually a way to refocus. You get all that anxious energy out with your walks and you play your music and like you just get in the mindset. And then when you come back home, you shower and you get to work.
Right.
And then after that, it just feels so good when you send like something off that you're I worked on this and I feel good about this off. Like even if you don't book it, you did good on it, and that's what'll make them call you back in.
Now, what's set life like? Like,
It's not what people thinks. No one's gonna hold your hand.
it
Like
must be emotionally draining, even if you're playing a happy character. Like, isn't
mm,
it still draining to
it
be on
can
the
be.
set? And it's like you have to pour out your emotions, even if it's a happy one. People get exhausted being happy. Your cheeks hurt when you smile too much.
Well, it actually depends on per set, but most of the time, I think what people think when they come to set, they're already drained because they're thinking of like the stuff that they're gonna have to like be like, what do I have to do? Like hair and makeup and who's so and so? Like, where's my mark? And I think the best way I can tell you to get through that is you got to prep early. I say get friends or get with somebody who has been on set before so they can tell you like for that particular project or that casting director or whatever, and get their like notes from it, because most of the time, even though actors are busy, they'll take time.
Right.
And it's just easy to prepare because it's true. When you get on set, nobody's going to hold your hand. It's not going to be we're going to escort you here. We're going to like glide you over here, especially for like those smaller roles and stuff. Like your first thing you do when you get to set, here's key. First thing you do when you get to set, hair and makeup immediately.
Right.
Because you got to find out exactly where that is, because most of the time that's where stuff's happening. And you don't want to just be wandering around. And then after hair and makeup, trailer. And then those are the two places that you like should get immediately. And if you don't know where, you ask somebody who is actually working the crew, because a lot of other people have stuff that they're doing already. They're not going to have time to like show you where's point A, point B, because it all moves so fast. Everybody's like, you breathing is a part of their commission.
Literally.
Yeah, but like when you go in prepared, like and you're knowing, you're like, okay, it makes it a little bit more easier, and it actually goes by really fast. Like I know some people who have booked Tyler, like, and every set's different. Like, the sets on Law and Order are going to be different than like the Tyler Perry sets, because on Law and Order, sometimes they like to do, a little bit more takes, where Tyler Perry, he gives you one take and that's it. Like, you better know your stuff when you walk in there, because as soon as he says action, you're doing a one take. You're not
Right.
going to do it again. And
Right.
when I learned the differences between different sets and different experiences and stuff like that, and then my friends as well, it kind of is like you have to, you know, somebody or you know someone who's been on some set, and the internet is golden, you know. It's also like you have to do the research yourself, because this is what you wanted to do. It's what you signed up for. And now that it's happening, you have to, you know, walk in like you are there to do your job, because you are.
Be fully there. Yeah.
Absolutely. You have to be present. You can't just be scatterbrained. You actually have to
You have to be in the moment.
before, but you have to come in and actually do your job. You know, you were
Right.
hired.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay, so if your life was a book, what would it be called?
The answer that I just had was terrible. I almost said Hot Mess Express. but
Actually, that's very catchy though.
yeah. I
I would
think
read that book.
it is, man. Hot Mess Express with no stops. I feel like it would be called, I guess, the Book of Me. You know, I
Right.
feel like it's very simple. I'm a very simple girl, very simple. I don't like to do too much. I don't like to do too less. I like to do as much as do my best to give you what you want. And that's just with like everything in me. I like to stay still. And I just think but I don't want just me to be just me. I want it to be like different shades of me, you know.
Right.
I'm overwhelmed and like having a mental breakdown about having an audition at 2 a.m. and I just in bed, or the me that's like, oh my gosh, I just booked this project, I'm very happy, or the me that's like angry and I'm starting to resent all that I do, or the me that's just crying, you know, just be for no reason other than like just be like, I'm just crying to cry. It's like different shades, like different, because all of that is me, but it's also somebody else too. I want it to be a book that shows me, but other people that can claim that's me too, you know?
Right. So where can the viewers go to find your past work or current projects?
You can go on the internet. No,
The internet.
I mean, a lot of stuff that I've done is like there's some film festivals in there too, but most of the time, if you want, that's pretty much it. But if you want to keep up with me, you know, Instagram and socials are always the way to do, because I'd be out here. But a lot of the times I don't really like post a lot of like what I do, because I just like I'll post outtakes. Like, I'm not even kidding. I have a lot of funny outtakes from like self-tape auditions that I do,
Mhm.
and I post those on my Instagram or my Facebook. And I like to keep it, because you gotta laugh. But sometimes, people like to laugh at my pain. And I think that's relatable. So yeah, definitely there. But I also do want to like voice that projects don't make and bookings don't make you any less than an actor if you're booking or if you're not booking, because you're doing the work. And if you feel, I do want to, if you do feel like you're doing the work and not getting the results, it's probably a time for you to like up your ante a bit.
Right.
And I do want to say it because I've been in the positions where I felt like I was doing anything and not even getting an audition, not even getting seen. And I'd be like, everyone else is getting, this is like 2017, everybody else is getting seen and I'm just sitting over here. I could be getting seen. You don't want to do the victim card.
Right.
You want to really, when you really learn why everyone else is like getting seen, you start to realize, well, look at who booked it. They were looking for somebody that don't even look like you. That wasn't you, or who turned around and they cut the part all together. But sometimes you have to really learn the mindset of it all. It's a real good mindset game, because you can either be on one side of the hand just blaming everybody, or the other side where it's like, well, what did these people have? Like, not to compare contrast, but it's like, do they have their materials together? Were they
Mm-hmm.
present in their role? Did they have their studio set up correctly?
Right.
Like, and I know you can't like ask for sure, but you can put some stuff together, And
Yeah.
at some point, it just comes down to like, well, you know how it's a business.
Yeah.
It's a business. You're not going to get everything that you go for. Most of the time, you're not going to get any of it. But when you do, when you're consistently putting the work, you're not supposed to book. You go into every audition trying to book the role, but what you want to do is book the room, because when you
Right.
book the room, you are memorable, and when you're memorable, guess what? They keep calling you back. And
Right.
when you're good, and when you are in the moment, and when you know your work and they call you back, it's only a matter of time. It's just the point of if you want to keep sticking to it, you
And
know?
then it's the million no's that lead to the one yes.
Absolutely.
What advice would you give to struggling artists out there who may be watching this interview?
Well, first off, we all struggling. Like, it's a struggle, but like it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be that epitome of like struggling artists.
Right.
Life is a struggle, but we here. So I feel like just call yourself an artist, because through the struggles of it all, you are gaining some, like, I feel like we don't know who we are until we've gone through hardships,
Mm-hmm.
and like
Yeah.
when we've been back to a wall. So I feel like just take a moment to appreciate the artist that you are and are becoming, because those hardships are going to prep you and keep you grounded and motivated to keep going. Because then when you finally do get that yes, it's going to be like, okay, well, I have officially gone through so. I should be, this is exactly where I need to be. And it's not
Right.
going to happen on your time. That's one of the, it's not, God is in control or whatever you believe in, but it's like, it's not us. We are not in control. We may think we were supposed to book something 2 years ago, but we don't get to control that. That's not in our control. What we can control, and what I can tell you, is to stay ready.
Right.
Stay in class, keep your technique up, go to the studios, and go to the people who are actually going to help you elevate into where
Right.
you want to go. Don't just go just to say you're going somewhere. Don't just pick any class. Go to the classes where it's going to test you and it's going to tire you out and make you cry, or any type of, or make you mad, any type of emotions, because those are the studios and those are the people who are going to not only keep you grounded, but help you get where you need to go.
Right.
Just keep at it. Yeah, that's what I would say. There's adversity in everything. Some people have more obstacles than others, but but it's just the matter of how you overcome the obstacle. Keep paving the way, keep putting that one foot in front of the other, and just stay true to who you are. Like, no matter what people try to like make you change, don't do it. Don't do it.
So, okay, everybody. Thank you, Chermaine Johnson, for being on my channel.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to everybody for watching. Stay safe.
And I hope that watching this interview inspired the artist in you. Bye, guys.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. sound right, boy. Sound right, boy. It sound right, boy.